They're just like ISIS, the caliphate. I mean, they're like a version of that. So, they are getting respectability by continuing these actions, by aligning themselves with the Palestinians.
He wants to degrade the Houthis' capacity. It's been put to us, I think, on this program that these have been fighting a war for years and years and years. Most of their capacity is well buried underground. Is it likely that we have the ability to stop them attacking the shipping by using our weaponry in this way?
Yes, it's possible. Nobody's trying to take out all of the Houthi military capacity. The idea is to impose costs on them. So every time they continue these attacks, what the West is trying to say is it will cost you. So it costs you radar, storage, facilities. You'll find that the price will get more steep as you keep these attacks up. Now, whether that will work or not, I don't know. But it's not about preventing the Houthis using military force. They've got a great deal of it, and Iran is continuing to supply them. And this is it's a kind of a last resort, because remember that the Americans worked very hard behind the scenes to try to persuade the Houthis to stop doing this from November onwards, when they attacked and captured the Galaxy Leader, the car transporter, in November. They've worked behind the scenes with the Iranians. That hasn't worked. They tried the big attack on the 11th, and they didn't expect that to work in one go. So now they're ramping up the pressure. So the idea is to keep imposing costs on the Houthis and the Iranians to say, whatever else you do, stop doing this.
But the reward is very high for the Houthis, because they get to strike at the West, which is useful for them politically. It's united Yemen largely in terms of their view of Israel and the West. And this is quite an important issue to them. So it's not like they're going to be put off very easily, is it?
Correct. Yeah. And the alternative is to not try, give up, and let the Houthis hold the world economy to ransom for the next 2 or 3 years. So adding a ratchet to world inflation, preventing the oil trade, trading goods, containers, cars, and so on. Remember that, the Houthis, they are, as you say, they're getting great prestige at the moment by aligning themselves with the Palestinians, which they always do. I mean, these are not a very progressive force. I mean, the Houthis have reintroduced slavery back into Yemen. Abdul Malik al-Houthi, the leader of the Houthis, and his very extended family, they all have slaves. And we're not talking here about just people who work for low wages. We're talking about traditional slaves. They've reintroduced sex slavery. I mean, these people are brutal with those parts of Yemen that they control. They're just like ISIS, the caliphate. I mean, they're like a version of that. So, they are getting respectability by continuing these actions, by aligning themselves with the Palestinians. But that's no reason not to remember what they actually represent.
That's a very good point. Just before you go, is it possible, is it a risk that they could take out a military vessel of either the US or the UK?
Yes, it is. If they concentrated their ballistic missiles, they might be able to overwhelm defenses. But remember that since the 11th, when the big British-American attack went in, they've only tried one-off hits, and they haven't been terribly successful. They keep doing it to show they can. If they can launch a bigger attack, I'm sure they will.